Welcome back. It's InfoWars Nightly News. Coming up in the next segment, we're going to talk to InfoWars correspondent Patrick Henningsen from London concerning Iran and the huge destabilization campaign the New World Order is carrying out in the Middle East and North Africa, leading to what many, even mainline journalists, call the beginnings of what could turn into World War III. That's coming up with Patrick Henningsen. But first, because we're getting close to the end of 2011, I wanted to get documentary filmmaker Jason Bermas on with us. He, of course, directed the film that I produced, Invisible Empire, breaking down the history and goals of the New World Order. Absolutely key, seminal film for anybody that wants to have even a basic understanding of how this system works, the system we all live under. And, of course, he was involved in the Loose Change productions, as well as another film I produced, and we'll be getting into that as well, Fabled Enemies. But I wanted to get Jason on to talk about all the crazy news taking place and what he sees coming up in the new year. Jason, great to have you here with us.
Great to be with you, Alex.
We talked about a lot of stuff, and I've got a lot of issues I want to raise, including the one about how they're now fitting bugs with surveillance devices to keep track of the globalist enemies, that is the general population. But out of all the things going on that you're tracking right now, what's number one on your radar screen?
Well, probably today the number one thing on my radar screen is actually what's happening in Iraq. We've had the troop withdrawal, Alex, but it wasn't really a troop withdrawal. We have military personnel there. We have more military contractors there than ever. First, they were Blackwater. Then they were XE Services. And just this month, they changed their name yet again to Academy with an EI at the end. And right on cue, right after the troop withdrawal, what happens? Well, Al-Qaeda strikes again, Alex. And this is fit to basically scare the public into believing in this boogeyman enemy and basically submitting to anything they put forward to us, including more and more out-of-control TSA personnel on the streets here.
Well, you're right. In fact, you have the LA Times article, 10 years too late, saying TSA, not just for airports anymore. They're going to be at the malls, the highways, grabbing your genitals, grabbing your wife's breast, all part of basic slave training. But look at Al-Qaeda. They admit there's 4 groups of Al-Qaeda in Iraq. They're using them to attack Iran while separately blaming Iran for 9/11. You've got Al-Qaeda being given control of Libya, Al-Qaeda being shipped in on top of it into Syria. This is all on record. So, I mean, Al-Qaeda created by the CIA to fight the Russians, to attack the Serbs. I mean, it's like a skeleton key, a Rosetta Stone. They use them for everything. How dumb do they think we are?
Well, basically, they think we're extremely dumb. They think that they can put the public into a state of fear where we just go along with anything they say. And they have been beating the drums against Iran on an unprecedented level over the last 6 months. And just as you said, they're now blaming them for the 9/11 attacks. Of course, Iran has refuted this, and this is all coming into play at the same time that Iran is outing CIA spies in their country and even putting one of them on trial, Alex.
Let me bring this up to you because I don't want to just glaze over this key point you've brought up. Al-Qaeda takes credit for the bombs that have gone off. That wasn't hard to predict. We said as soon as the, quote, regular military pulls out, you're going to see Al-Qaeda attack, so there's a pretext to say, oh, see, we need you. And now they're talking about breaking the country up into 3 different parts. I mean, it really is amazing that this is happening. It's always been the plan. Since before the war, we broke it down to partition the country into 3 parts. Jason, they're now doing it again, and they think that we're so stupid. I mean, they've built dozens of these giant embassies where, as you pointed out, there's 100-something thousand mercenaries. And so supposedly it's not an occupied country. It's not a war if the official U.S. military minimum wage people are gone and if it's all these mercenaries coming in. I mean, this is just shows a new level of psyop where people think the war is over and it's still going on.
And it's also coming at a very convenient time to bring home military when the NDAA bill only needs to be signed by our president. It's gone through the House. It went through the Senate. It was then approved by the House again, and now we're just waiting for it to be penned by Barack Obama. And remember, the White House postured and said, oh, we're never going to sign this. As soon as it was agreed upon, of course we're going to sign it. And isn't it convenient that we're having all of these military personnel come home at a time when they are actually starting to build and man FEMA camps through what? Military contractor Kellogg Brown and Root, a subsidiary of Halliburton.
You know, Jason, we get attacked over the years for reading globalist documents, for being obsessed with reality. We're the bad guys. We told people there'd be a global economic implosion based on derivatives, that the very mega banks that sold all this fraud would hold the world captive and create a new bank of the world that we'd pay our VAT and carbon taxes to. Now it's admitted. They say global authoritarianism is here, run by banks, but even The Economist says that's a good thing. So we've been right, and now we're saying they plan to kick off a giant war in the Middle East. Now that's here. But instead of being patted on the back for being right, we're the bad guys.
Absolutely. And I'm really glad that you brought up the carbon tax, because that's being implemented by stealth in the United States. How so? A European judge has actually ruled that they can implement carbon taxes on all flights. That's American Airlines, United Airlines, Continental Airlines, you name it, on U.S. flights as well. So you won't know you're paying a tax, but your flight fees are going to go up, up, and up some more, just as they did when they made the excuse, oh, we have to start charging you for luggage because there's a gas crisis. Well, when that gas crisis ended, did they take away the luggage fee? Absolutely not. And now some of them are claiming to be insolvent on top of that. And with a European judge being given the authority to basically tax the American people on a global level for breathing, because that's what a carbon tax is. You exhale carbon dioxide. It is not a toxin. It is not a poison. It is not something we should be paying taxes on, but we're going to start paying taxes on it, whether we know it or not, Alex.
That's right. And U.S. airlines and others that have hubs in Europe, they're going to have to adopt it. And now American companies are saying, okay, when your people come here, we're going to tax you as well. I mean, it's here. And it doesn't matter. It's all discredited fraud, a power grab. They're just going ahead with it.
Absolutely. And that's why they tried so hard some years ago with the Copenhagen Treaty to just kind of pass it along the lines to create this global authority that would inherit global taxes from everybody and get us to sign on to it. Thank God for people like Lord Christopher Monckton, who really brought this into the spotlight and allowed others like yourself to run with it and expose it on a national level. And we were able to defeat it then, Alex, but they keep taking these incremental steps. And now when they can't pass it on a taxation level, they'll just pass it through European foreign judges.
Now, Jason, shifting gears into the police state, these banksters are counting on using this authoritarian system and all the paramilitary police to suppress the public while they bring us into this New World Order system. And we were talking before we went live here on air about more and more reports out there about governments coming out, not just with artificial dragonflies, but with bugs that have been turned into little cyborgs to crawl in your house and surveil you.
And this isn't new technology. You know, we've been talking about the Hummingbird drone for some time now. The CIA, like you said, had Dragonfly drones back in the 1970s, only becoming public a little bit over a year ago. But now we're talking about bugs this size and smaller being fitted with cameras and other sensors. And of course, Alex, it's under the guise of saving us from natural disasters. Oh, these bugs are going to be the greatest thing in a building we can't go into. We're going to be able to find people and help people. Well, why don't we talk about what they're really going to be used for, and that is massive surveillance of American people and American dissidents.